Hey, this is Kisha Moore of Hummingbird Macarons and Desserts in Norfolk, Virginia, and you are listening to EATYALL Podcast.
Welcome to the EATYALL Podcast, where we discuss the struggles and successes of the farmers, food producers, and chefs who are working to get better ingredients into restaurants today and to ensure their availability in the future.
Thanks to the Dairy Alliance, a network of hundreds of family dairy farmers, for their support of this episode of the EATYALL Podcast. Want to know more about how dairy foods are harvested and crafted? Learn more at thedairyalliance.com. That's thedairyalliance.com.
I'm Andy Chapman, and welcome to episode 31 of the EATYALL Podcast. I'm joined by our Chief Operations Officer and co-host, who also happens to be my wife. Welcome back, Mariana. 2 weeks in a row you showed up for this.
Hey, Andy. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm fired up about today's interview. So I have a question for you. You know how professionals in all sorts of sectors, medical, legal, accounting, real estate, they all do continuing education, right?
Oh, yeah. They get the credits and the catering and the whole deal. And I bet you're wondering what's the equivalent of that for our team.
I am. And because today's interview really got me thinking about how we develop our people and how that investment translates to business success. And it raises really good questions for those of us in leadership positions in the food world too, and how we can help our chefs and their teams do better in this department.
Yeah, and if folks missed our last episode, let me catch everybody up. So back in August, we hosted our first day camp. I call it the COVID version of EATYALL Chef Camp at the Richlands Dairy Farm up in Blackstone, Virginia. Today's episode, as well as episode 30, were recorded there on the farm. Next week, we're going to hear from two family members of the farm family there in Richlands. One was recorded there on the farm, and one we just did yesterday over the phone. So super good content there. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and last week we featured your interview with Chef Jason Arbusto from Lynchburg, Virginia. He's a visionary, world traveler, and executive chef who painted, I thought, a really great picture of what he learned and saw while visiting Richlands Dairy Farm. He also shared some pretty epic travel stories that I personally couldn't get enough of. It was a fantastic interview, full of lots of laughs and some practical how to travel the world as a chef insights.
Yeah, today's guest has some real wisdom to share, though. I mean, for starters, she closed her bakery for the day, brought her entire team out to the dairy farm, and that definitely turned some heads around here.
Right? I mean, we work with hundreds of chefs around the globe, and I'm not sure we've ever had a chef close their business for the day to invest in their people like she did. I think every chef would agree that it's an important thing to do to invest in your people. The data we've been seeing lately is telling us that customers really want to know where their food comes from and how it's produced. They want to trust the people that are cooking their food and know that they're serving safe and nutritious and ethically produced ingredients on their menus, but that doesn't make it easy for chefs to escape the kitchen.
And every time we get chefs together for an EATYALL Chef Camp, we experience this reality. I mean, I guess you'd call it job security.
Yeah, I mean, it's no easy task to get chefs together and get them out on the farm or get them together to learn more about. They want to, but it's tough. Definitely, it's a tough industry to do that in. But,
and I will say, once we get them out there the first time, the second, third, fourth chef camp, there's way easier.
For sure. I think the value they definitely see. And so in today's interview, you're going to hear from Chef Kisha Moore. She's a pastry chef from Norfolk, Virginia, who has definitely endured her fair share of pandemic pivots and struggles at her bakery, Hummingbird Macarons and Desserts. And I mean, I knew I loved Kisha Moore the second I met her. Her energy is contagious. Her passion to invest in people through her bakery is undeniable. She's developing a team that is having a lot of fun and producing really excellent results. And in this interview, she unpacks her secret ingredients to business survival. And Andy, I mean, it's just very practical and doable stuff.
Yeah, she's got an incredible just energy about her, and we love it. And look, stick around. You're going to hear all of this, plus the lightning round, where we're going to answer the critical questions like biscuits or cornbread. And we're going to wrap it up by discussing what inspired Kisha to lead so well in the first place. You're going to love what she has to say about that.
So grab a pen and take some notes, y'all. This is a good one. Here's Andy's interview with Chef Kisha Moore.
We are live from Richlands Dairy in somewhere outside of Richmond. Blackstone. And I'm with a new friend, Kisha Moore. Kisha, tell us who you are. Why are you here?
So I own a pastry shop in Norfolk, Virginia called Hummingbird. And I brought my team here to experience just what it takes to run a farm and get a better appreciation of the products that we utilize and build a relationship and partnerships with local farms. I think it's a great way to get involved. It's a great way for them to experience and appreciate where food comes from, what it is. And I think that they're going to go back to work like we've got the best job ever because we don't work on a farm. It's twofold.
So did you close your whole restaurant for today?
We did. We closed for today. I believe that educating your team is important. And that's something I'm willing to do that. We read books quarterly. My goal is that they leave from my company not just having acquired a technical skill, but like life experience.
Well, I can tell that they are completely bought in with whatever you're doing because they are as engaged and excited as any. I mean, we've seen some sous chefs that are like, they've been hungover for 6 hours when they show up and they're like, I don't know why I'm here. He said I should come.
Yeah.
And your whole team has been super engaged and
thanks.
And really just soaking it all in, which, I mean, I think that's one of the beautiful things about Chef Camp is you get somebody completely out of their element and they don't know everything anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's good what you said, like getting them out of their element. The world is so vast. Chef Camp I think this is incredible. Everyone should take time to take their teams on an adventure like this. Yeah.
Tell us about, so your restaurant is in Norfolk, Virginia. Describe is that a big town, little town? So
Norfolk would be small, medium town, downtown. It's a decent food scene. Some really unique things going on. There's a beans and bowl place across from us that do acai bowls and these amazing pita and vegan-inspired dishes. It's not all vegan. And there's a French bakery from a couple that transplanted from France, and they have a bakery like a block away. So
they're trying to compete with your macarons?
I don't know if there's any competition, but I always welcome. I think it's great to have companies around you. People will buy from one place, and if the other place is great, that's how I do. I'll shop the whole street if the food is good.
Yeah. If we can, I want to talk about some of the numbers of what goes into your restaurant as far as buying power and what you're able to do shopping with different farms and talk about your food budget, because I know you guys as restaurateurs you're spending a ton of money on ingredients because you're only as good as the ingredients you buy. So as you talk about your, give me a ballpark and you can say it's none of your dang business too, but what's your annual grocery budget for your pastry shop?
So this year is different because
of COVID. Okay.
COVID. But on average, maybe $45,000 for the year.
Gotcha.
So one of the great benefits for me about having a pastry chef, I owned a bistro before, is that you can control costs very differently than you can when you have a restaurant. And so that's why I love the pastry shop, especially our model. So we rotate our collections, what we call them, seasonally. And so knowing what that is, there's certain things that don't change. Prices may go up, a little bit, but basically we use butter, flour, sugar, eggs.
Yeah.
And then all the other higher end ingredients, which is our chocolate, our vanilla. And I really do like to use quality ingredients. Primarily, we get that through IGF because IGF, as a distributor, does source thoughtful farming in the area. Right. And so we can track where our product comes from. And so they're our primary source of food, of supplies.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So when you're buying milk or a dairy product, are there 10 different butter options, or is it, you can get salted or unsalted? How deep do you have to go there?
Well, so I stick to a specific type of butter. I prefer 83% fat or more. and there are usually about 2 or 3 choices in that range. There's a brand that I stick to, and that's what I prefer, at least the one that they carry. So yeah, and I always use unsalted, so there's no thought process in that.
Do you guys make croissants?
We do not make croissant.
I had a whole list of questions on that.
No,
and
that's
one
not
of
me.
which was going to be, do you have my mailing address? Because that's one of my...
But I will get your mailing address to send you everything else we
Hey,
make.
so one of the things you mentioned you make is a ice cream sandwich with macaron.
Yes.
Talk to me about that process, because I've made a lot of ice cream sandwiches with chocolate chip cookies, and I'm trying to perfect the process. And one of the things you don't want to do is get ice cream everywhere. You want to actually have it between the two things and get it back frozen.
Yes.
So talk about that, because that's a fascinating thing, and I know that's a messy job.
Okay. So when we first started making them, we would put the ice cream in sheet trays, and we'd punch them out with a circle or cylinder.
Right.
And yes, that's messy because we'd have to freeze it to pretty hard, punch it out, put it in the sandwiches before everything melted, wrapped it up, and put it away. Well, then, now they have these silicone molds that are heaven. So, so when the ice cream is made, the ice cream goes inside the silicone molds, and then we make the macaron cookies to fit that size. So now when production is, we just pop them all out, put them on top of the macaron, wrap it, and
you're making your own ice cream, so that
yes,
that helps.
Yes,
Yeah.
It does help to make your own ice cream, but that's just because I'm a fanatic about quality control. So
yeah, my version involved cutting the carton with a big knife into chunks, and then slicing it,
yes,
and then
sandwiching it or making it.
Sandwich it, smooth the edges, lick your fingers, put the next one in. We didn't really lick our fingers. I know some people got those at that party the other night. Everybody's still alive. It's fine. It's fine. So this is your first chef camp experience.
Yes.
Talk about what you feel like you're going to take away from this special time we've had today on the farm out here in Blackstone, Virginia.
So the camaraderie, the group, so we do as a team quite a few excursions, and it's so well organized. My mind is blown. I have enjoyed every part of the experience organizationally, the thoughtfulness in bringing in like the dairy farmer, Portia,
yep,
and taking the tour. And I really can tell that this chef's camp has been thought out, like what you're hoping for us to receive. And so the knowledge from like how the cows are tagged and follow through, and the technology in farming, like, so that the geeky side of me is like all into that. I wanted to know more questions.
Yeah, they did not have computers counting how many gallons of milk every cow gave when I was a kid.
No. So what that does to help their bottom line, I can only imagine. So learning about what it takes, it's given me a greater appreciation. Now, I've been on farms, but this has given me a greater appreciation of the process of a dairy farm and the milk and how they take care of the animals, and just all of that knowledge was so beneficial. Very well done.
Was there anything that really stood out to you, like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe
they eat that much food?
They eat that much food, and the baby cows, the little calf pen was one of the, I think my kid went to a daycare that wasn't as clean as that place.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think what's impressed me is, so like in our shop, we're diligent about cleanliness. So to come to a farm and see how clean this farm is, I can't, the scope of work or the systems in place for that to happen, that has been like, wow, for me. Just every process is that more than anything, I was like, this is like super organized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the job, like when Brittany was talking about, she was even working on her PhD or whatever, and she's like, I decided to come here and do this and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could tell how much she loves those days. She's her girls. That's her girls.
Yeah. The passion behind it. And I just love people's dedication to their craft. This has been great.
Well, I'm really glad you were able to join us. All right, so let's talk about some ingredient questions for you.
Okay.
So what sorts of ingredients would someone like you, perhaps yourself even, be interested in as EATYALL, and kind of frame this up, EATYALL is constantly looking to help introduce you to new farms, new products, new faces that can help you make better food for your customers. What are you looking for? What might spark a new conversation, a new menu item, a new offering?
Yeah, oftentimes I'm looking for, besides dairy, honey is a big thing for us. We make these bars that are called bee bars. They have like toasted almonds, walnuts, pecans, dried cherries, and we make a honey caramel filling. And so I would love to have like a truckload of like really good honey.
Oh yeah.
And the honey we get is good, but I'm always looking for like the liquid gold, so that would be something beneficial. Really great herbs. I like to combine like sweet and savory things. And this year it's been very herb focused because of COVID and finding new ways, like how can we create something unique?
Right.
Microflowers was tough to get. So, I found a farm in Virginia actually does some microflowers. So yeah, a good flour, like baking flour, like a good flour mill, are all, always looking for those as well.
That's exciting. And one of the things you said was honey. And when you talk about liquid gold, what color do you think, like, have you had like 10 different flavors of honey? Or, it's not flavor. It's what are the bees eating or pollinating?
Right, what they're pollinating on.
So what's the darkest shade of honey you've ever had?
I've had, it's pecan a color.
For purposes of today, yes, we'll allow that.
I've had honey as dark as pecan. That's been raw.
Wow.
Very different flavor. And I like different honeys for different things. So I've gotten raw honey from Australia. That's completely different.
You're going to one-up me now. Okay.
It's completely different than the raw honey that you get in the States.
Right.
I've had lighter honey from Germany, different types of honey from there that are completely different as well. Lighter, some more flavorful. I like honey.
So we have down in Mississippi, there's a swamp that has all these wildflowers and trees and whatever. And there's a guy who has some bees that run off of that.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like unused motor oil. It's kind of like, maybe it was used a little bit.
That's a good description.
But and the viscosity, like it's chunky, it's oozy. It's not like super fine, like, when you go to the grocery store or something, you get like, oh, this is honey. That's probably been fortified with high fructose corn syrup. So it's like part bee, part corn. Yeah. It is awesome. That's what we use in some things.
Okay, I want some of that.
We have to go find Dan, and he sells me a pail or two.
Oh.
He's pretty stingy with it. But there are places. I actually had a chef who wants some honeycomb for his charcuterie boards. And I found some people who had that. So hey, we'll find you some honey.
Yeah, I just I want a dessert for us in our stores and experience. So when people come in, they talk about it like that. I'm blown away the conversations people have about the product.
Oh, really?
And so having that kind of like a honey that would heighten that, what we already have, would be fantastic. Or any other ingredient that you can find a connection with, I'd be happy to.
Hi, y'all. It's Mariana here, and I wanted to pop in real quick and share a message from today's show sponsor, the Dairy Alliance. America's dairy farmers have had a tough year, but they've also had a tough run for several years. Butter, cream, and whole-fat milk don't grow on trees. They are the never touched by human hands, all natural, safe, and nutrient-packed result of some of the hardest working, most thoughtful and caring farmers in America. But unfortunately, there's a lot of confusion and misinformation floating around about dairy products. The Dairy Alliance is a great organization that helps you understand how the milk is made, so to speak, so you can confidently enjoy serving milk and dairy products to your customers and loved ones. Plus, when you buy a gallon of milk from your food distributor or grocery, you can be confident that it was produced on a family dairy farm in your region, because that's how the milk supply chain works. And I love that. Learn more by visiting thedairyalliance.com and drink more milk, y'all. Now let's get back to Andy's interview with Chef Kisha Moore.
So if I go to your restaurant, and I sit down and I'm your average Joe, what am I going to? Am I going to get coffee, tea? What's the?
Yeah. So right now you're not going to get coffee or tea.
What is wrong?
COVID has
the coffee's hot. You kill it.
I know, but we opened in the midst of COVID. We were in the middle of a build out. So when we opened, it was just straight takeout, and so we decided to forego the coffee and tea.
So
but
you didn't get water run to your place?
No, there's water there.
Okay.
We're just not servicing coffee or tea right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you will get coffee.
But we will. We have
eventually.
our espresso. Everything's there to set up. It was just that with all the fluctuations, it was a roller coaster.
Oh yeah.
So
I've
going
seen
from
people who've gone like, we can be open with these rules, and then the next week it's like,
we're closed with these rules.
You can have 5 customers a week.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay,
Yeah.
we're closed.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, you can have 10. They're like, we might try it.
Yeah.
And then
So with the having finished the build out in the midst of everything that's happening, for us, it was just getting open. And our top seller are macarons. I mean, people buy those like they're going out of style.
So what does a dozen macarons run me?
$27.50.
Wow. That's the like Oreo size. I don't know how.
Yeah, it's like the $1, $half size. If anybody even knows what a $half is anymore.
Hey, there's a corn shortage. Don't make fun of the $half. They're extinct almost.
They are.
So you're not gonna be able to find this anywhere. So yeah, for our readers, if you're thinking $half, like just think about your thumb and then go about 3/4 of the way, and that's about a $half.
Yeah.
Did I just say our readers?
You just readers, but listeners will work too.
It's been we've been at this. We left early this morning to get here.
Wow.
It's been a long day. So we did coffee. We did macarons.
Yes.
Am I going to finish with anything else at the restaurant?
Yeah, so we have one of our summer. So we do again our collection. We do the collection is everything: the macarons, the desserts. So one of the tarts we have right now is a strawberry elderflower hibiscus. So that's we put hibiscus that's been in syrup inside our short dough.
Right.
We layer that with strawberry preserves that we make in house, almond cream, fresh strawberries baked in, an elderflower mousseline on top, and then fresh strawberries.
That sounds like a lot of work. It sounds amazing.
It's incredible.
But I can't get coffee.
No, because we're not doing any dine-in service. So right now we're only takeout.
So, okay, so you said you finished your build out in the midst of this.
Yes.
What's it been like? Are you freaking out? Are you like, okay, well, if we can survive with this when COVID is over and we can actually operate normally, we're going to be killing it? Or
I'm
how
not
are you feeling?
freaking out. I think because I've had devastating losses. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm still open. So that's, I don't
feel
know.
pretty good about that.
It's a different perspective. 6 years ago, when we first opened our shop at our first location, 2 months after we opened, the roof awning on that building completely collapsed. We had 30 minutes to get all of our stuff out, the essential things that we needed, and we were displaced for 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So that compared to this is almost a cakewalk.
Yeah, you're like, wow, this didn't bother me at all.
Almost. I mean, there are definitely stresses there, but I just, Andy, I believe that you've got to have a positive disposition, and whatever that is. Business has its ups and downs. This year it happens to be COVID. I remember a couple of years ago, eggs had gone up to 100%, and a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, what are you doing? We're supplementing with cartoned egg whites and all that." And I was like, "I'm not." I said, our customers expect something from us. And so I didn't even pass that cost on to the customer. I said, we're going to buy these eggs.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue to do what we do. And that's what we did. But so they happen. I think those variables happen in different ways and in different places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or stages.
So having that positive attitude and just kind of having already been through the fire a few times, I guess, helps go, okay.
Yeah,
it's a new
helps.
year.
Doesn't mean you don't cry along the way. It just gives you a different perspective.
So earlier you mentioned something about your family. You got kids, you got spouse. Are you like solopreneur? Or you got a partner?
Yeah, I am a solopreneur right now.
So you carry the weight?
I do. It is. Besides, I think I have a great team. So I'm a solopreneur with a great team, which is better than a solopreneur with a not so great team.
Right.
They really chip in and do so many, they do a tremendous work. But yes, carrying the weight of that, there are times that I'm like, oh my gosh, it'd be good to bounce this off. And so I have colleagues and mentors that I can bounce those ideas off of. And so that helps a lot. I think that if you don't have a partner, you should have people that you can go to to talk through those stresses. I'm joking. I do pretty much stay positive about things. But when COVID first happened, I thought I was going to pull my hair out one strand at a time. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So having someone to talk to through that process and talk me off the ledge a couple of times, was very real.
Yeah. You talk about pulling your hair out one strand at a time. That's what happened, actually.
That's what happened to
I had
you.
a full head of hair before this. No, we canceled, I think, 8 different events, chef camps and other things, including a 500-person pastry chef showcase that you're going to have to come to next year because then we reschedule it for next year down in Orange Beach called Sweetest Chefs. So
I like it.
It's a huge, fun thing we do, and it's one of the things we looked forward to all year. And we were like, can we do it? Can we not? Is it going to be, it was supposed to be in September. So, it's like, maybe everything will be fine. And then it just keeps going and going. And so I think that dragging on, it's not like you can just like take your medicine and go,
exactly.
Okay, boom, I'm sick. Okay.
Exactly.
I'll wait, I'm fine.
Yep.
Have y'all had staffing issues and things like that you've had to fight through, or I know you've talked about your team. You got a great team here. Is that something that's been a real challenge?
It hasn't been. So again, so some of the benefits of having done a build out is my core team was there during a part of that, and so some of the downtime we had budgeted. So in essence, we were down. They were 2 weeks. I had to go 2 weeks where they were furloughed, and then like the PPP kicked in. So I'm grateful for that. So some things worked out. And then after we opened, we've brought on 3 additional team members.
That's awesome.
But I believe, however, people have different beliefs for why they're in business. I have a strong belief that business is designed to create jobs. And business is a privilege. So it's something you've got to really think about, not haphazardly. So, yeah.
I completely agree with you. And it's funny that a lot of people have thought like, oh, well, you should just have a business for whatever. And the kid who mowed grass and sweated and made $30 in 2.5 hours was like, hey, if I could do that faster, I could make, and you start trying to calculate all you're like, what could I do if I could I had a faster mower and it's like this game to create revenue. And then when you have that, you can do other things.
Yes.
I like that you're like, it's, there's a purpose for business. It's not just we're
going to go make a lot of money and then do what? Like give back, help your industry.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're going to do what we call the lightning round. Kisha.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready.
All right. Biscuits or cornbread?
Cornbread.
All right, favorite cut of steak?
Ribeye.
How do you like your eggs?
Poached.
Favorite cookbook?
Little Black Book.
Favorite knife or, because you're a pastry chef, favorite kitchen gadget?
Food processor.
Food processor. And who is your hero?
I don't know if I have a hero. I have heroes.
There you go. Do you have multiples?
I do, because I look at different people for different things. Yes, I have heroes. You
want to share any of your heroes, or you're keeping those?
I don't want to name like the obvious, because I don't think I'm inspired by a lot of different people. So Oprah would be someone I'm inspired by.
She's from Mississippi.
She is. She would be a hero because the day that she opened, or her first show, was in September of 1986. And I was 13 years old. And I ran home. My mom said, there's going to be a black woman on her own show. And so I ran home from school. But it wasn't even just that. It was what she said. I felt like in that moment, watching her, I could be anything. And it remained an inspiration for me all the way through to now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
that's why. So not because she's who she is now, it's because who she was then.
That's beautiful. Kisha Moore, everybody.
Yay.
Thanks for being with us today.
This is great, Andy. Thank you.
We'll get you back soon.
Okay.
I want to thank Angel Lanier White, our resident podcast consultant and chef community manager, who made the Eat Y'all Chef Camp at Richlands Dairy Farm a reality. Also, thanks to the Jones family for sharing their farm with us for the day, and to the Dairy Alliance, who made it all happen.
You've been listening to the Eat Y'all Podcast, hosted by Eat Y'all founder and chief relationship officer, Andy Chapman. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to us if you'd join us in our mission to save family farms by subscribing and leaving a review. Even better, share this episode and follow us on your favorite social media account at Let's Eat Y'all.